Okay. So the line goes like this. इतना कुछ मिला है खुदा का लाख शुक्र करूं. इतना कुछ मिला है खुदा का लाख शुक्र करूं. अमल कुछ खास नहीं मेरा, मैं आखिरात की फिक्र करूं. अमल कुछ खास नहीं मेरा, मैं आखिरात का फिक्र करूं. मुझे लगता है उसे पसंद है मेरा टूटना. मुसीबतें भेजता है ताकि मैं उसका जिक्र करूं. डिस्टर्ब हो रहा है ना इसकी वजह से. Alright. So, hello everybody, and क्या लाइन था? अच्छा, okay. So, hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today we are going to discuss the chapter that is called Sexual and Asexual Reproductions in Plants. So in our previous class, I have told that today we are going to link with this chapter. So first of all, let us go to the sexual reproductions in flowering plants. Here we're going to discuss about, so sorry I didn't open the note. So for that, let me go. Come on. So are you all feeling fine today?
Yes, sir.
Is there any problem? No problem. Alright, so keep supporting, huh? So today we are going to deal with the chapter that is sexual reproductions in flowering plants. Here we are going to discuss that is pollinations and fertilizations. Both these two things. What does pollinations means? The pollination means the pollen grains whenever it comes and touch the stigma, at that time the pollination occurs. Alright? And fertilizations, whenever the stigma and the pollen grains get attached, at that time fertilizations occurs, isn't it? So how the fertilizations occurs? With the help of pollen tube, isn't it? When the anther goes and touch to the stigma, at the time what happens? It develops a pollen tube, and gradually day by day it goes and touch to the ovary. And after touching to the ovary, it touches to the ovule, isn't it? And inside the ovule what exists? There exists egg, and at the same time two pollen nuclei. When they fused, at the time fertilization occurs, isn't it? Alright, so let's move to the next slide. Today I have brought for you people a very beautiful slide, that is the presentations. Moving to the sexual reproductions. What does sexual reproductions means? See, in sexual reproductions, male and female cell. So male cell is known as androecium, and the female cell is known as gynoecium. Alright? So both are known as gametes. So that unit form a single cell called zygote. They fuse together and they form a zygote. And this zygote then undergoes cell divisions. We know that after going the cell division, it ultimately gives rise to a new plant. That is known as offspring. Alright? So that is the actual process which occurs in sexual reproductions. However, so in case of asexual reproduction, it is going to be identical because it is going to give its own parents total genes to them. Consequently, sexual reproduction is a process that increases variations among offspring. That increased variations means what? It might look similar or it might not look similar in case of sexual reproductions. Why? Just because there are two things necessary for sexual reproductions. So that is why whenever this offspring is going to come, it might look similar or it might not look similar. But in case of sexual reproductions, it is very much identical, right? So now let's move to the next presentations. कितना टाइम ले रहे हैं हम लोग? What is the time? Okay, 5 to 10 minutes required. So now let's move to the very important part of today's topic, that is structure of the flower. It is very much important whenever we are going to learn about the sexual or asexual reproductions in flowering plants. So for that, it is very much important to know the diagrammatic representation of this particular flower, that is the China rose. This is very important. Just see what are the naming or nomenclature of this part is being mentioned out there. That is anther. This anther and filament constitute and stamen. Alright? So this part is known as petal. This is very important. Petal shows the color. Petal is responsible for producing the smell, producing the fragrance in the flower. Alright? So likewise we have here. So this particular part is known as receptacles. isn't it? So this is known as sepal, or it is also known as calyx. All right. So now moving to the very important part, the female part of a flower, that is stigma. This is style and ovary. Those three things constitute a carpel. Like see, stigma, style and ovary, that constitute a carpel. This is also known as the female part of a flower. Carpel, or it is also known as pistil. Good, very good. Very brilliant student. So right now, the students which are in front of me, they are the students of Markaz Institute of Modern Education. They all are Hooper students. So you are being introduced. Just say thank you. All right. Very lovely students. So this is another part of a flower, that is reproductive structure of a flower. Here also you can see the same thing, but there is another picture I have drawn here. This is a pollen tube. Just see here, pollen grains, whenever it falls on the stigma, it develops gradually a pollen tube and goes and touch to the ovule. So this is pollen tube all about. Now here see anther and filament, they constitute stamen. This is known as ovule. This is a petal, as I have already explained. This is responsible for producing the color or the fragrance of a flower. This is known as sepal, or it is also known by other name, that is calyx. All right. So this part is known as receptacles, that I have told previously. This is a pedicle, or it is also known as stem, or it is also known by other name, that is peduncle. 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 All right. So now this is another important part. This is female part of flower, that is stigma. This is also known as style. This is known as ovary, and they constitute pistil, or it is also known by carpel. Very good. So now let's move to the next slide of today's presentations. So this is another function of the components of flower. This is very much clear, as through these pictures we can know how to draw this particular flower. This is very much clear, I hope, isn't it? So just few things here we need to note down, that this peduncle and stamen. Now these are the function of a flower. What does anther contains? Anther contains pollen. Here filament rolls the anther. Filaments holds the anther. These are certain things are being written out there. So likewise sepal, the stigma, that is responsible to hold the ovary. This is style. In the style it develops a tube. Ovary, female gametes lies inside the ovary. Ovule is the reproductive cell. Alright, so now moving to the next slide. This is very important. Together functioning reproductive part of the flowers. What happens here, see here, there are various part names are being involved. So what does this carpel happens? What happens in the ovary, ovule? What are the role play of all those naming, which I am being underlining here or giving the circle? This is a very important part of a flower, and their role play are being lies out here. See the carpels, these are the female reproductive organs and are found in the center of each flowers. They constitute in hollow. Ovary, which contains ovule, this is already I have explained in my own language. Nothing lies out there. So these are another name of the flower, carpel, its functions. Alright, so here calyx and its functions. Now you can see the very important slide, that is ovary and ovule role in reproductions. Here this is the female part of a flower, as I have told previously. Now just see, this is called what? Pollen grains, and the pollen grains, whenever they touch to the stigma, the female part of a flower, they gradually develop pollen tube and they goes and touch to the ovary. Okay, not egg directly. Yeah, ovary है ना? अच्छा, inside the ovary there exists what? नहीं, inside the ovary there exists ovule. तुम लोग क्यों puzzle कर रहे हो मुझे? So inside the ovary there exists ovule, and in the ovule we know two things, that is one is known as pollen nuclei, another one is known as egg. So this pollen tube goes and touch with the egg and they fuse together, okay, and they form a seed. So this is how the process occurs. So now just see pollinations. There are pollinations, two types. One is known as self-pollination, another one is known as cross-pollination. So self-pollination means what? Whenever the pollination occurs on the same plant, that is known as self-pollination, when the pollination occurs from one flower to the another flower of a plant, that is known as cross-pollinations. Alright? So in our life, we all are suffering from different kinds of pressures, different kinds of problems. So this is a very beautiful lines I'm going to express in front of you all today. So if you remember this, then you are not going to take such type of tension and all. Just because I'm in certain type of mode right now, the situation is going on like this just because of that. So I thought of to express. That is, okay. So the line goes like this. इतना कुछ मिला है खुदा का लाख शुक्र करूं. इतना कुछ मिला है खुदा का लाख शुक्र करूं. अमल कुछ खास नहीं मेरा, मैं आखिरात की फिक्र करूं. अमल कुछ खास नहीं मेरा, मैं आखिरात का फिक्र करूं. मुझे लगता है उसे पसंद है मेरा टूटना. मुसीबतें भेजता है ताकि मैं उसका जिक्र करूं.